Hello and welcome to Banking on Information. Today with me is Karan Jain, the founder and CEO of Naya One. Welcome to the podcast, Karan.
Thank you, Rutger. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, we always start with this very important question, which is why do you do what you do?
I love that question, and the more I answer it, the stronger it gets. So, there's a commercial reason for what we do, and there's a personal reason for what we do. The commercial reason is enterprises need to buy tech, and the old way of buying tech is broken. If nothing, if you got to move at pace, by the time you have an idea, you get it to market, it takes you 2 to 3 years. And in the meantime, someone's had two new iPhones, like your customers aren't happy, right? So you got to move at pace, you got to buy technology, you got to move fast. And that's what we enable for our customers. So buying technology isn't going away, and that's kind of the commercial reason. That's kind of what motivates us to change the industry we work in to help enterprises adopt technology faster. The personal reason is when I was working in the enterprise, I found how hard it was to buy technology or to experiment with technology, see how I can get new technology to our customers. And you'd often meet young companies with great ideas, but the world's kind of stacked up against them, like in terms of how quickly can they get inside the organization, how quickly can they get to the room, is the product at a banking level, is the product at you know like is a bank ready basically. And I found that creating something that gives them levels of playing field is probably the right thing to do for the society. So if someone from who doesn't have all the contacts in all the right banks and doesn't have all the contacts to get all the right tech friends and whatever, but has a great product idea that's going to be good for you know your or my kids, then we should give them an opportunity, level the playing field, and get the product out. So between those two reasons, we keep pretty excited um, as a team to do what we do, and it
Yeah.
kind of reflects in our name as well, Naya One. So Naya is a Sanskrit for new, and one is basically one place. So for our customers, is one place to go buy technology for new for transformation.
Yeah.
That's
So
where the name
so
comes
you're
from as well.
so you're passionate about making things easier, leveling the playing field, speeding things up and helping people with innovation.
Yeah, and I think we're passionate even more deeply about making better society, better financial products, better
Yeah.
financial inclusion, right? So if that is stuck in someone's head and they can't get it to market, that's what we want to accelerate at the end of the day. In the process, yes, we end up accelerating uh, everybody else that's before them.
Yeah, no, that is great. Now, what is it that Naya One does? What use cases do you solve for your customers?
Yeah, so we work with FIs, regulators, central banks, and now growingly all the enterprises, and we basically help them with tech adoption. What does that mean? So these organizations want and need to buy new technology to gain new customers, to retain existing customers, to stop fraud, stops cybersecurity risk. All of that requires buying technology. Now, the
Yeah.
old way of buying technology takes somewhere between 6 to 18 months, and with so many vendors in the market, it's really hard to know which one you should buy because a,
Mhm.
does it even do what they're saying is there, or even step before it, does it even exist, or is it slideware?
Yeah.
So then it's about, okay, does it actually exist? Does it do what it says it does? Is it going to work with the stack or inside my organization? So that's what we help our customers solve. So we help them basically accelerate their proof of concepts and pilots from what it might take 12 months average to an organization. We bring that down to 4 weeks. That's what we help them. So you go into the Naya One platform. It's got a couple of hundred vendors there in different ecosystems. You've got synthetic data in secure environments. You'll be able to do a proof of concept in weeks that would typically take. And also what we found is reduces the risk of buyer's regret.
Yeah.
that people have, and people who've bought software before have got PTSD from buying bad software, that they've either bought the wrong thing, or they've bought it, now it's sat on the shelf for 2 to 3 years and can't go anywhere. So
Yeah.
and with the changing customer um, behavior and expectations, that's what we help accelerate.
Great. So you make that much faster, and I do remember that from the time that I was in banking, that it was always great that you found a solution provider and you're like, hey, this is great. They can solve my problem. And then you had to go through this really long process of onboarding them, getting them through InfoSec, getting everyone to weigh in. And then to your point, like it was 2 iPhones later by the time you actually got them onboarded. And then you were crossing your fingers that it was actually going to do what they said it would do.
The longer it went, the more you were crossing your fingers, because you had
Yeah.
your political capital involved and invested now, right?
Yeah.
You put your hand up for it. So like typically the use cases would be, hey, I want to run a proof of concept with one
Yeah.
vendor. I want to compare 3 vendors
Yeah.
side by side. So in that case, they would have the same data set, same KPI, same infrastructure, and really can compare them next to
Yeah.
each other. I want to build out a customer journey or a transformation journey.
Yeah.
I want to de-risk integration. I want to run hackathons. Will be the top 5 use cases that our customers use the platform for.
Perfect. Yeah. And then what is the value they get out of it? We touched upon it a little bit, but let's articulate that very, very clearly. What do customers that you work with sort of say, hey, this is what that did for us?
Speed and cost, right? So help them basically accelerate their job outcomes, which is, hey, if you're in a product line, I need to get product to my customers. If you're in technology team, I need to help deliver this, and I want to pick the best technology that's future proof. If I'm in an innovation, I want to work with the other two, and I want to get the best outcome for the organization or the bank. Those are the
Yeah.
3 types of people we're working with. And the value for them that Naya One drives is speed,
Yeah.
certainty of the solution they're picking at a fraction
Yeah.
of a cost.
Yeah. And sometimes it's even just the hurdle making it possible, right? Because some people might just give up trying to go through their own internal process. So maybe that's even the first benefit that you deliver, that people actually have the possibility of trying something out.
You bring up a very interesting point, because my read on the industry is, I think our colleagues in the industry are pretty beaten down by that process already, right?
Yep.
So if they were in a conference, or they were talking to us, and we tell them a good solution, it's gonna take a lot for them to go through that process, because they know how hard it is to go through that 6 to 12 month process to get a vendor in. And
Yep.
also, everyone's really busy now. The
Yep.
jobs have changed, the climate's, the so so to your point, 100% it opens that up. But in my head, given how many banks I speak to on a daily basis, I think
Yep.
that's just the new norm. But you're
Right.
right. Ability to innovate is real. Ability to
Yep.
try, ability to explore is real.
Yeah, no, that's great. There's this one thing I like to do, which is called futures thinking. So it is thinking about possible futures. We don't know what the future is going to hold, but we can speculate and we can think about what a possible future could look like. So if we look 10 years out, so 2034, what do you see out in the future? What does the market look like? What does the banking, financial services landscape look like? Paint me a picture of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Great question. And I think number one thing that comes to mind is the banking or the financial services will become more and more embedded,
Mhm.
right? So, there's different ways: lifestyle banking, embedded banking, invisible banking. There's different people call it different things, and I'm sure there's a split line, hair split difference between them all. But at the end of the day, there's more experiences like Uber and delivery where you don't see your finances and you're consuming services, right? Number one.
Yep.
The flip side of that is, I think your financial management has a long way to go. So I think pulling people out of debt, helping people manage their finances better, I think is a thing that I'd like to see improve over the next
Hmm.
10 years, because I think it's a very underinvested area
Yep.
at the moment. The other thing I see expect to happen is massive consolidation,
Hmm.
where you'll have, we think there's there's oligopoly between core providers and da 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 da. Wait till you wait another 10 years. You're gonna see
Hmm.
even more at different areas, and who owns the experience and who's owning the customer. So I think
Yep.
like who's gonna own the customer in 10 years is anyone's wild guess right now.
Yep.
I do believe like people used to say banking is a commodity, and I still do believe that. But I think that doesn't mean that banking is extinct, or like banks are extinct. I think and we're seeing that now, they're getting redefined, or like they're going through the change. And I think banks have proven over the last 10 years that
Hmm.
they hold a very important role in the society, and I don't think that's going anywhere.
Yep. So 10 years from now, banks will still be around. There might be some consolidation, and they will be much more embedded, right? So much more financing at the point of need, when customers actually need their financing. That is very interesting. So what does that mean for today? If we do backcasting and we sort of say, hey, what do we need to get ready for that possible future? How do we do that?
I think, and just on that consolidation, I mean, banking getting consolidated is a given. It's just I was actually referring to more about consolidation cross industry.
Right.
A bank and a consumer good brand getting
Mm-hmm.
merged together is probably what I
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
um, to really bring that to life. Um, so what do we need to do? Get ready. I think having having your tech and data interoperable, future ready is one thing. Like that's a given. Otherwise, you don't have pace, you don't have speed. Number
Yep.
two, um, even before that, is knowing what you want to be when you grow up, almost, or what's the path or non-regret. Like, are you doing what you're doing in next 10 years, or are you doing something different? Because you got to be
Mm-hmm.
testing that right now, and seeing what the demand is like, or a version of that. So I think
Yep.
you know to get ready is, I'll say, get your house in order, because like there's always stuff anybody can do, even the
Mm-hmm.
largest of banks. But it's more about being future proof and being interoperable as possible,
Yeah.
and having business strategy, and that are being applied to not only just your tech but also to your business strategy. It's probably how I think
Yeah.
about it.
No, that is great. And obviously you want to be fast in your prototyping and getting ready and trying out solutions. And that's probably where people can use your platform for. That is probably a good point to wrap it up. Thank you very much, Karan, for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Rucker. This was great discussion.
And until next time, choose to be curious.